To learn more about our amazing history, to visit our website, subscribe to our award-winning American Spirit magazine, read our publications such as The American Treasure, The Enduring Spirit of DAR. I assure you that you too will be awed by the combined accomplishment of our organization. I learn new chapters of our history every day.
At its onset, the founding members of the Daughters of the American Revolution invoked the thoughts of our country's founders, that education, above all else, is the decisive element of a democracy. The DAR built this idea to the 3 pillars of the organization and have dedicated a majority of their efforts over the past century to education programs throughout the nation. In the early 20th century, the newly formed DAR contributed financial support at the chapter level to numerous schools across the country. In 1914, the South Carolina Daughters voted to establish a school for mountain girls in the remote northwestern part of the state. Securing support from the National Society, as well as land and financial donations, the chapter opened the Tomasi DAR School in February of 1919, and today continues its educational mission. Other areas of the country also saw the creation of schools during the early 20th century, including the Kate Duncan Smith DAR School in Alabama, the Crossnors School in North Carolina, the Hillside School in Massachusetts, the Hindman Settlement School in Kentucky, and Berry College in Georgia. Today, the 6 DAR schools are funded by over $1 million annually from the DAR. Through DAR's American Indians Committee, funds are also allocated to Bacone College in Oklahoma and Chemawa Indian Preparatory Academy in Oregon to help the educational needs of Native American students. American history has always been a focus of DAR education efforts. The first DAR American History Essay Contest was held in 1898. Today, through a nationally coordinated program that encourages youngsters to learn about history in a new light, more than 4,000 schools participate in this annual contest for students in grades 5 through 8, with nearly 66,000 essays submitted yearly. The DAR Scholarship Committee awards approximately $200,000 yearly in a wide range of disciplines. Applications for DAR scholarships average more than 1,600 each year. Educating the next generation to be good citizens is also a top priority for the DAR through various programs. In 1921, after years of chapter-level citizen education programs for immigrants, the National Society published the DAR Manual for Citizenship to help educate newly arrived immigrants preparing for the naturalization process. Over the next few decades, the DAR would produce over 1 million copies of the manual. Junior American Citizens Committee is one of the Society's oldest youth-oriented committees. It reaches out to tens of thousands of students from kindergarten through grade 12 to promote patriotism in every child. To help promote the program across the country, many chapters recognize achievements through awards, as well as holding contests in creative expression and community service. With more than half of the national committees focusing on elements of education, the DAR is prioritizing this founding principle within the organization. Over the last 125 years, through its many programs for youth and adults, the DAR has given the opportunity to learn to millions of lives. With a force of nearly 1 million members since its founding, the Daughters of the American Revolution have performed a vital range of service in support of the military over the past 125 years. Founded to preserve the memory and spirit of the revolutionary patriots who fought for America's independence, the DAR extends that mission by honoring the sacrifices of all those who have continued fighting for our freedom throughout our nation's history. Patriotism, one of the founding tenets of the organization, lives within each and every daughter. While the DAR was still in its infancy, the the United States found itself in conflict with Spain in 1898. Dr. Anita Newcomb McGee, then a DAR Vice President General, volunteered the organization to help screen the nurses needed by the government. The DAR Hospital Corps would be established and screened thousands of nursing applications within the next few months, sending more than 1,500 nurses to help in the conflict. During the First World War, numerous chapters volunteered their efforts to help. Members of the Cincinnati DAR knitted garments for the troops. Other chapters rolled bandages, collected clothing, and donated food for the USO. The Mercy Warren chapter of Springfield, Massachusetts, hosted first aid classes and fundraisers. After the attacks on Pearl Harbor, the DAR headquarters became a center for wartime activity. Offices throughout the DAR buildings were loaned to the American Red Cross. A day nursery was opened in the basement of Constitution Hall for the children of enlisted men whose wives were working. The DAR members also purchased over $2 million in war bonds and stamps during the course of the fighting. Through conflicts in Korea, Vietnam, and the Middle East, DAR members passionately lent their support in various ways through monetary donations and volunteer efforts. Following the attack on September 11th, the DAR worked with the Department of the Navy to sponsor the crew of the aircraft carrier USS John C. Stennis. When the ship returned to port, DAR members' support shifted to the Landstuhl Regional Medical Center in Germany, which cares for wounded military personnel. DAR members also regularly send care packages to troops overseas. Care for our nation's veterans has also always been a top priority for the DAR, and members perform more than 300,000 volunteer hours annually to support veterans programs. The DAR is one of the largest groups to serve on the Department of Veterans Affairs Voluntary Service National Advisory Committee, and DAR member volunteers are a regular fixture at VA hospitals across the country. The Daughter Support to Veterans also provides the perfect setting for capturing and recording their stories as part of the Library of Congress Veterans History Project. DAR members have also served in all branches of service themselves, including more than 600 members who served in a variety of capacities during World War II, and many more who have come after them. Whether at home or abroad, the members of the Daughters of the American Revolution serve the country that they love with the same dedication as their revolutionary patriots. Through their continuing efforts to support active duty service members and honor veterans, DAR members are committed to celebrating those who defend our nation's freedom. Honoring and preserving the memory of those who served in the American Revolution not only includes the signers of the Declaration of Independence or high-ranking military officers, but also the everyday soldier or colonist who contributed to our fight for independence. As many as 250,000 men served in the Army or militia, and countless others heroically helped with the efforts. In the first report to Congress, the newly formed Daughters of the American Revolution described that their genealogical research showed the experiences of the many unnoticed heroes and forgotten heroines who composed the rank and file of the nation in 1776. Patriots like Peter Rogers, who enlisted as a fife major in the 4th Regiment, Connecticut Line, and served in Washington's Army in Pennsylvania, and William Hughes, who was a volunteer private in the 2nd New Hampshire Regiment. Other patriots contributed to the cause off the battlefield, such as Michael Gratz of Philadelphia, who signed a pledge to cease trading with the British and supplied gunpowder and firearms to George Washington's troops. Women also contributed to the fight for independence, but their efforts were often less heralded. In the early 1920s, the Daughters of the New York State Organization helped to honor a once-forgotten patriot with a burial place of honor. Margaret Cochran Corbin manned an artillery cannon after her husband was killed during a battle. She was wounded and years later was buried near West Point. Through research, the DAR linked Margaret Corbin to her heroic actions. Her body was exhumed and buried in a place of honor in the West Point Cemetery. Other women patriots also had military combat experience in the Revolution, such as Deborah Sampson, who disguised herself as a man and served in the Continental Army for 17 months before being wounded and honorably discharged. Elizabeth Zane showed great courage during the siege of Fort Henry when she volunteered to leave the fort during a pause in gun battle to fetch a keg of gunpowder and narrowly returned safely with the precious ammunition. While never directly in the line of fire, Mercy Otis Warren's strong convictions and political writings during the Revolution helped to galvanize the cause. African American and American Indian patriots also participated in the American Revolution. James Armistead, a slave, served as a spy for the Americans, while acting as a servant for British General Cornwallis. And Toby Gilmore, an African-born slave, won his own freedom by serving as a private in the Continental Army and contributing to a number of significant battles. Peter Harris, of the Catawba Nation in South Carolina, fought in the Revolution and was eventually recognized for his service. In October 2002, DAR opened the exhibit Forgotten Patriots, African American and American Indian Patriots in the Revolutionary War. It was the culmination of more than 20 years of research and based on a publication produced by DAR. To date, thousands of African American and American Indian patriots have been identified, and DAR researchers continue to work to uncover these individuals and their unique stories. Many foreign patriots also fought shoulder to shoulder with American patriots during the Revolution, including thousands of troops from France. Nationals of Sweden, Poland, Germany, Portugal, and the Netherlands also aided the American cause. Additionally, Spanish citizens provided enormous financial and military support to the American Revolution. Don Diego de Guerdeque was the financial intermediary between the Spanish court and the colonies during the American Revolution, helping to supply munitions and other military goods to the colonists. And the great Spanish military leader Bernardo de Galvez led Spanish forces defeating the British at the Siege of Pensacola. In the 1990s, the DAR formed a task force to identify Spanish nationals who contributed to the revolutionary cause. Since that time, members of the task force continue to develop a bibliography of historic events and sources that can prove Revolutionary War service of Spanish nationals. DAR's work and genealogical research has helped increase the knowledge of the patriots who helped make this country. With each new application and each new bit of information, we can have a better understanding of the sacrifices that were made in the 18th century. And with that, we can honor those heroes, one and all.
The 125th anniversary of the founding of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution is an exciting time to be a DAR member. We have looked back into our archives and we found some wonderful videos of our past Presidents General as they have shared their memories from decades ago. And now we are digitizing those for future generations, and we have invited our current Honorary Presidents General to share their memories of their administrations and their accomplishments with us today.
I was very in awe of the organization because my mother-in-law, Lorna Owen Kemper, was chaplain general in Mrs. Spicer's administration. I too became responsible, feeling that I believe in education, historic preservation, and patriotism down deep in my heart. So I wanted to be a part of that.
I wanted to join, first of all, to carry on for my mother. My mother died. I joined the next year. And because so many of the family members, grandma and my cousin, and they're all, the mother, all members of DAR. So I just said, time to carry on.
I joined DAR as a junior member. I joined my mother's chapter and have been a member for many, many years. I think the reason I really joined the organization was because of a love of the objectives that it promoted. historic preservation and education, and I was also very interested in genealogy.
I joined DAR in 1968, along with my mother and several family members. We were asked to form a new chapter, and that was named for my ancestor, Peter Houston. And after attending my first state conference in Nashville, I met so many outstanding Tennessee Dollars that I just knew I wanted to be a part of this organization.
Well, my mother was truly the driving force behind my joining the DAR. I was raised in a family where my parents instilled a very strong sense of family history and love of country. And so the first time I went to the Continental Congress 40 years ago, I knew once I had been here that this was the organization I wanted to identify with, and I wanted to become just very much involved in every aspect of DAR.
One thing that I've always enjoyed about DAR is the interactions between generations. And when I joined, I was one of the younger members, and now I'm one of the older ones, but I'm still enjoying it very much.
When I first joined DAR, I had no intention, and a lady called me. I didn't know who she was, and my second cousin had met her at a state conference and said I had recently moved to the area. And those ladies made me feel so welcome, and I don't think I would ever have become active had they not called me the week before the meeting to make sure I had a babysitter, offered to watch my son so I could go to the meetings. Several times when I didn't have a sitter, they said, bring him with you.
When I was growing up, I was always aware that I had family members who had been members of the DAR and been encouraged to join at some point. And really, after the bicentennial of our country, when all the fervor of patriotism, I decided it was a good time for me to join, so I began the application process.
Well, I enjoyed the work, and I loved to be with the members and also all the work they did with the students and scholarships and the schools, the DAR schools. I enjoyed that. Of course, I was a teacher. We raised over $777,000 for Ellis Island and helped with the restoration of the Statue of Liberty.
When we became involved in the World War II Memorial campaign to raise funds for that beautiful memorial on the mall, we became an active partner. We raised over $460,000 for that memorial and had the opportunity to work with Robert Dole, who was the volunteer national chairman.
We raised over $4.2 million for the renovation and restoration of the buildings. And the fact that the daughters gave so generously, and we could do so many wonderful things to the buildings.
My President General's project began the creation of a new digital database designed to improve operations and provide member access. The work of our genealogy department was expedited with the digitization of 800,000 applications and the accompanying 9 million support documents.
My primary goal when I was elected President General was to complete the digitization project that was begun in the previous administration. That was a continuing President General's project. A few of the proudest moments were the dedication ceremony of the Marian Anderson commemorative stamp, and it was a wonderful opportunity for there to be a wonderful relationship established between the DAR and Ms. Anderson's family.
Certainly proud of the work we did on the President General's project, especially work on the North Terrace with the flooding and stone deterioration. It was in critical need of work. We were able to, under the terrace, to build a 2,300 square foot vault just beneath that surface for collections of the society, and that was a wealth of storage space.
As crazy as it seems, Washington, D.C. experienced an earthquake. When they did the assessment of the DAR library laylight ceiling, they discovered not damage from the earthquake, but damage from time. And our members who love Our House Beautiful so much came through with over $2 million to support the restoration of the DAR library laylight.
Most fun activities that we implemented was our Celebrate America committee. When we met, we challenged our members to try to come up with 1 million hours of community service a year. We just asked them to record the hours they're already doing in their community. And what astonished us is the enthusiasm that the chapters developed while working together in these community projects, how they became better acquainted with their own members. And in our first year, we had over 4,760,000 hours of community service.
My advice for future kids is enjoy every minute, yeah. Work hard and enjoy it, yeah.
I think one thing is very important, and that is to approach your leadership as an opportunity for service and to surround yourself with wonderful people who will help you to accomplish that.
I think it's important for people who are going to take on leadership positions to remember that their goal should be to work for the very best of the organization, to always keep in mind what the mission is, and to do their very best for DAR. I think any President General who's going to take that role needs to know that she's got to put on her running shoes and get on the track, and she won't get off for 3 years.
Always be true to yourself, and when you make a decision about anything, always be certain of what that decision will reflect on as far as the National Society is concerned, and also what influence it might have on other daughters at the time. So when you look in the mirror, be true to yourself and always think about others.
I hope every member will consider becoming a leader, whether it's in her chapter or her state or the national level. What I would encourage them to do is to learn as much as you can about the DAR. Take advantage of every opportunity. Go to all those meetings, go to the workshops and the seminars, and learn as much as possible. But it's not possible to serve as President General without the full support of your family. That it truly is the biggest sacrifice, is the time with my family that I'm missing. They are completely supportive because they know that this is a rare privilege that I have for 3 years, and I'm enjoying every bit of it.
The most rewarding things as a member of DAR has been the association with ladies from all over the United States and through the units overseas. The friendships made have been just precious and dear, and I think every member will feel that way about the friendships.
The 125th anniversary is the perfect time to reflect on the energy and the mindset of our founders.
One of the things that I feel has occurred over the past 25 years is that the DAR has been able to better accommodate the busy women who are working outside the home, women who have so many things going on in their lives. I think we've done a wonderful job of accommodating them in terms of an organization.
Celebrating the 125th anniversary of the Society, I can't help but think back over the years and reflect on all the leaders that we've had and all the members that have done so much over the years and their dedication to the work of the Society. It's really amazing when you think about it, that a small group of women organized this Society in 1890, and yet many of their goals are still being sought after today, and we're working towards making this a continuing better society.
My involvement in DAR has always been spurred by the values of the organization and the friendships that I've made there. I have to say that one of the things that DAR allowed me to do is emulate the very best of the people I met.
I've often wondered, as we're planning our Quasquicentennial celebration, what our founders would think of us from 125 years ago when they began to have the vision for this organization and make plans for it. What would they think if they were to come back and see this society now and see how it's grown, see what wonderful care we've taken of these buildings, which they had the vision for? I know that our founders would be so proud that our society has grown, that we're continuing to be a vital part of this country, that we're holding dear to our missions of historic preservation, education, and patriotism, and that most of all, we're still honoring God, home, and country as we serve, united in these United States. 125 years ago, when our founders met for the first time, they determined we needed a fireproof building and managed to not only raise some money, but build this beautiful complex of buildings. The Guardian Trust campaign is the way for today's DAR to provide for tomorrow's DAR. Now is the time to create this endowment fund to preserve our buildings for the future.
When our founders and the early leaders of the DAR, they had the courage to step out in faith and to bit by bit buy the property, and then stone by stone they built the building. And they didn't get the roof on for the First Continental Congress. And when they finally finished it, they realized that every one of the Presidents General involved had been supportive and willing to promote the project.
Certainly our younger daughters that are daughters now, and those that will become members in the future, will always be proud of these buildings. To know the history of that small band of women that built these buildings is just incredible, that story. And we all want to continue that legacy. All of our members are proud to say that this is buildings that were built and maintained by women.
We can proudly say that we not only have a large collection of personal artifacts from the American Revolution, we have one of the largest collection of genealogical libraries in the world. We have a fabulous DAR museum that we share with school children every week that never have an opportunity to see museums otherwise. Constitution Hall has nearly 1 million visitors a year. It's the largest concert hall in the metropolitan D.C. area. Most of all, our founders had a vision for a home. We have a home right here at 1776 D Street.
When you think of preserving these buildings, I think you have to remember what we have in this building, those beautiful period rooms. Think of the Americana room and all of those precious documents, all of the furnishings throughout our buildings. Just think of the buildings, the architecture itself. That preservation effort is awesome. It is something that we're committed to doing, and it takes resources to do that. We have inherited these, and it's up to us to protect and preserve them.
I think my first impression of a visit to 1776 D Street was that the entire complex of buildings was absolutely overwhelming. And then experiences of being in Constitution Hall at the meetings and the opening night and National Defense Night ceremonies. I think that all of these things for a young DAR member were very impressionable experiences because it was an overwhelming thing to be there for the first time.
Well, most of the time, a President General has not had the opportunity to make a choice because of the needs of the maintenance of our headquarters. A President General should not be forced to take that on as her project. Our President General should take out projects that go beyond our headquarters, out into the world around us. What has been done in the past is there to remain. What will be done in today's world will be there to remain in future years. So everything we've done has not been in vain. So it is high time that we create some kind of an endowment that will preserve those buildings for years to come.
It would be wonderful to have that endowment so you didn't have each administration have to have a project to raise funds for this, to prepare this building or do that building or anything else like that. So that's all taken care of so they can go ahead and do marvelous things, more things with the students, the education and conservation and restoration.
And I see this Guardian Trust campaign as one that may take several administrations to raise the money, but our members will realize that they're doing the same thing today that our early members did in order to build the buildings, and they're building a fund, the Guardian Trust Fund, that will take care of our buildings forever.
Can you imagine what we would be able to do as an organization if we didn't have to worry about where the funds are coming from to maintain our beautiful buildings. Can you imagine what we could do on the national level, on the state level, and in our local communities in the way of programs and projects? So I invite you, each and every one of you members who love this organization, who are committed to preserving what we have for future generations, to join me in supporting the Guardian Trust campaign.
My hope, my vision, is that we will have this wonderful endowment campaign, and that 125 years our buildings will be as beautiful then as they are now. I want my granddaughter to come here in 18 years when she's a member and be proud of these buildings that we've taken good care of. I want my great-granddaughter and my great-great-granddaughters to come with their members and also share in our vision and say, my great-grandma took part in this. She helped keep these buildings as beautiful as they are.
What this organization needs first and foremost is a home.
Built by women, managed by women, run by women.
What our founders built, we must preserve.
It should be the finest building ever owned by women.
This is about more than just one President General and one project.
Now is the time for an endowment to preserve our fantastic home.
This Guardian Trust campaign is about taking care of the vision of our founders. 125 years later, we have the opportunity to not only preserve and restore this building, but to make sure that it is still as beautiful 125 years from now as it is today. Please join me in giving to the Guardian Trust campaign for future generations. Almost 1 million women have joined the society since its founding. We want to show the hundreds of thousands or even millions of hours they have given in service to their communities, and to show that they are passionate about their preservation of our history, promotion of quality education, and of showing their patriotic pride in America.
The Celebrate America initiative was created in honor of the 125th anniversary of the Daughters of the American Revolution. It encourages members to become involved in community service and to record their hours to help highlight the mission of the service organization.
We decided to call it Celebrate America because it's our way to show how DAR gives back to our communities. We have such a history of service within the organization, and we are so willing to share our time and talents with others to make America an even better place.
DAR members have answered the call for service throughout the group's history. In the late 19th century, the newly formed organization helped found the Army Nurse Corps at the onset of the Spanish-American War. For decades, the DAR supported the mission of the Red Cross in times of crisis, and members worked with newly arrived immigrants on Ellis Island.
What if we challenged our members to 1 million hours over the 3 years? And that seemed a little scary. Did the math and divided it by our number of members. Well, what if we challenged them to 1 million hours a year? And so as we quickly exceeded that goal, we realized we underestimated the daughters and how hard they're working nationwide. So now we've set a new goal of 10 million hours for the administration, and I think we may have once again underestimated our members.
DAR members have long been involved in community service. Now, through Celebrate America, they are also logging their hours to tell the story of how DAR gives back to America.
We have received hundreds of stories of how our members are working in their communities worldwide. We have a member in Arkansas who has her therapy dog called Stormy, and she takes Stormy to a local elementary school to help students who are having trouble with reading. One of my other favorite stories is a 70-year-old member in Louisiana who wanted to draw attention as part of an organization to the number of children in foster care in Louisiana. So what did she do? She rappelled down a building. One of our members in Massachusetts works with a VA-sponsored program called Waves for the Brave. They take veterans who have amputations, take them to the beach, and let them surf. And then this lady served as a catcher in the water. So if they fell, if they had any problems, she was there to catch them and bring them in.
Whether DAR members are escorting World War II veterans on honor flights, caring for historic sites, helping bring awareness to health issues, or working with underserved youth, the Daughters are celebrating America through service to their communities.
The beauty of the Celebrate America program is the cumulative effect it has. However we're doing it, we are making a difference, and that's a story we want to be able to tell.
Knowing that other people care and that other people are out there wanting to do something good in their community, I think that's really powerful.
As DAR members, when we think of service, it's very broad, and it is from the gifts that each person has to contribute.
When you volunteer, not only are you taking all of the talents and the experiences that you have and putting them to work in the community, but you're also building up the community at the same time.
We want a society founded on service. That was a quotation taken directly from Eugenia Washington, one of our founders. And over the last 125 years, that is exactly what has happened. DAR members have been involved in service to their communities from the beginning of the organization, and we continue to do that today. DAR itself is a very large organization, almost 3,000 chapters in every state of the Union, as well as in numerous countries across the world. Those 177,000 women, wherever they find themselves, can impact their communities in very positive ways. So it starts from a very small effort. It might be a member recognizing the need that their community needs a food pantry, and she decides to organize it. She's making a difference in her community because one person saw the need and decided to act on it.
So I've been volunteering with Carpenter Shelter, I believe, for about 8.5 years. So now I generally volunteer on Sunday mornings. My very favorite responsibility is announcing breakfast. And it's my sole job to wake up the residents on Sunday mornings and tell them what an amazing breakfast is waiting for them.
Associations in the community and community groups and the DAR and many other service organizations in our community really do make a difference, and we try and build as many connections to them as possible, recognizing that we do have a shared interest, healthy, strong communities.
DAR only recently formed the Special Projects Grants Program at the national level, but DAR Daughters have been helping their communities for the past 125 years. Matching fund grants of up to $10,000 are awarded in the areas of historic preservation, education, and patriotism. Over the past few years, DAR has awarded over $250,000 annually in support of local activities.
The Bath Community Library was founded in 1701, and it was founded because someone in England sent books to the St. Thomas Parish, which is here in Bath. And it started then, and it's been going ever since. The DAR grant was one that would fund technology, computer technology. What we wanted to do was to get more computers so that we could offer classes. We even bought new computers for the staff. They had problems even checking out books sometimes, so now they're able to serve the patrons so much better because of the computer technology that the DAR grant paid for.
Without the support of the DAR Special Grant Program, we would not be able to offer computer classes. We wouldn't be able to have room to bring in additional books as we were cramped before. Patrons' attendance has increased.
We have community functions here. All of this we would be without the support of the DAR.
Free Minds uses the tools of books, a book discussion, and creative writing to build a brotherhood and to enable these young men to see new possibilities for their futures. That is what I love about the DAR, like how it's so firmly planted that literacy and education is the way to change the world. It's hope, it's power. And so that started us off, that special projects grant on our Books Across the Miles. And we have to report today, it's amazingly successful.
We met Free Minds when they were just starting to grow. They work with incarcerated youth, and many of them are illiterate or close to that. And as a chapter, we were trying to find things that we could do and be a part and make an impact and have fun. So it just really came all together. For DAR to be involved in Free Minds or in similar activities where we're working with parts of the community that really many people have given up on. That's very rewarding.
I'm very grateful for DAR's support, and I know our members are too, because we get all the books. And, without the books, there wouldn't be a book club. DAR is an organization that accepts them. They know that they made a mistake, but they also believe in them to the point of their continuous support.
For a person like me that come from deep in the streets, like I didn't know anything about positive life. I always looked at criminal activity as life. So once I was able to read and comprehend, I took off from there. I became a positive individual, and that's what I want to continue to be, a positive individual. And it's great for y'all to help.
The capability that I have is to reach out to all of our program managers out in the field, and I simply ask them that question: how are DAR members making a difference in your facility? And in literally a matter of hours, I had emails flooding in telling me about the stories. The impact that DAR has on the veteran community today is very important, because the DAR members continue to come into our VA hospitals and serve in a number of capacities. That gives veterans today an opportunity to remember that there is an organization and there is a community that cares about them and remembers their sacrifice and service to America.
What I like most about DAR's objectives is that its focus is really on giving back to the community around you. I know the three focuses are historic preservation, education, and patriotism, and I feel like those three focuses really align a lot with the volunteer activities that I want to be involved in.
DAR support has been an ability for us as a small organization to expand our reach much farther than we ever thought we could.
It's important for each person to find a way to give back, to be able to volunteer. We are members of a community. We need to be there. We can be there. And we have to look for those opportunities.
Everywhere, DAR members are making a difference in so many different ways across our VA community, and it's heartwarming to be able to get those stories come flooding in so quickly with immediate recollection of how DAR has contributed to the work of VA.
What I am so attracted to about the DAR is how we pull together women of common interests in historic preservation and education and patriotism. And we do real work with real impact and have a great time doing it. Personally, I was attracted to the three key mission areas because of that connection to history, about my family's history, and understanding more about how we're all interconnected and how each one of our patriots made such a difference in their own way, and now we are carrying that torch, and we want to carry it into the future.
women working together for America, sharing a bond that has lasted for generations. These are the Daughters of the American Revolution, dedicated to their love of God, home, and country.
I'm very proud to be a member of the DAR because it encompasses all that I believe in.
More than 2 centuries after their patriot ancestors founded this nation, today's DAR is still preserving the ideals that made America great by serving communities across the country.
You get this wonderful feeling at the end of the day that I have accomplished something. I have made a difference. And the people's lives that you touched are infinitely more enriched because DAR has walked into their lives.
The DAR's commitment to America begins with its newest citizens. Today's daughters attend naturalization ceremonies like this one in Houston, Texas. It's a moment the Ramirez family has dreamed about, watching their daughter Cindy become an American.
The first time they say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States as citizens of the United States, it is a moving experience. It reminds us of how fortunate we are to have lived in this country for so many generations.
The DAR has supported immigrants since the days of Ellis Island, providing them with a citizenship manual and a warm welcome.
And we want them to understand that we're glad that they're citizens and we recognize the commitment that they've made.
They made us feel that we're no different, that we belong, and that's very important for us.
This day is a very blessed day for me. I've been waiting for this day.
To see their appreciation and to see their joy, I'm grateful to be able to share the day with them.
The DAR has been proudly serving the public since 1890, when it was founded as an organization for women who are direct descendants of Revolutionary War patriots. Today's DAR is one of the largest service groups with 168,000 members and 3,000 chapters in the United States and abroad. Each year, daughters meet for Continental Congress at their Washington, D.C. headquarters. But the DAR is more than its pageantry, history, and beautiful buildings. Its members make it unique.
The DAR member of today is definitely not a fence sitter.
She's very well educated. She's a professional. She is the retiree. She is the stay-at-home mom.
People think that DAR is for old ladies. My slogan is, it's not your great-grandmother's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
We have women of all color, of all religions, of all politics.
The diversity in DAR really attracted me to the organization because it's a really great group of women who are very dynamic and have a wide range of skills and experiences, and I've really learned a lot from them.
Some of the most remarkable women that you will ever hope to meet are here in DAR. They're just fabulous to work with.
The DAR is growing and it's changing, and I want to be a part of that change.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
Today's daughters are a diverse group with a common goal. Their mission is to promote patriotism, education, and historic preservation.
It is the spirit of DAR, the spirit of patriotism, the spirit of service, wanting to do something for someone else.
We can make an impact in this country, and I think that the more people can hear about DAR and the more people can know what we do, the more impact we can actually make.
The DAR's patriotism is felt every day in the nation's veterans' hospitals, like these facilities in Nashville, Tennessee, and San Francisco, California, where DAR volunteers spend thousands of hours visiting patients.
I heard you were handsome and debonair, and they weren't lying. What an honor to meet you.
You're just too kind to me.
DAR members bring these veterans who fought for America gifts and a message from the heart.
I get to say to them, thank you. I'm thinking of you. We love you. We appreciate what you do. I don't think they hear that enough. I don't think we can ever say thank you enough. We're backed up by thousands of other DAR women who feel the same way. And that's the beauty of it. There's a power behind that. And the guys and the women feel it.
I appreciate it. It's pretty cherished. Shows people care.
We're here for a reason. And it's nice to know that people think about it.
Veterans can depend on DAR members to give their time and money. The California DAR is donating Liberty carts like this one to transport disabled veterans around VA medical centers.
If we can show our troops by even small gestures that we support them, that we respect them, and we recognize what they've done, we've done a great deal.
We thank them very, very much.
Today's donors are also working to benefit our troops overseas through projects like So Much Comfort. This grassroots group, headquartered near Dayton, Ohio, adapts clothing for injured soldiers who've worn hospital gowns for months. It relies on volunteers like these Ohio daughters to help sew and ship thousands of garments.
It is something I can do. I can't go over there and hold their hands, but I can sew something to help them out and give them some dignity.
This gives them back their life. And what more can you do?
Whenever there is a need, today's daughters are there supporting America's military. The DAR Project Patriot Committee assembles care packages for wounded troops. Virginia daughter Bridget Ward knows how much these comfort items mean. She's delivered packages to fellow troops in Landstuhl, Germany.
I'm proud to be a member of the Armed Services of the United States, but I'm honored to be a daughter of the American Revolution.
And then there's Texas daughter Pamela Marshall. For this mother of 2 sons serving in combat areas overseas, DAR's patriotic mission is deeply personal.
As a mother, my heart is full. And as a citizen, I'm extremely grateful.
It is DAR support for education that gives thousands of young people hope for a better life. In places like Grant, Alabama, a mountain community with few opportunities until the DAR built a school here in 1924.
Ladies from all over the United States gave the funds to build those buildings. It's just an amazing story.
Today, the Kate Duncan Smith DAR School has 1,300 students in grades K through 12. KDS is one of 6 schools nationwide partially funded with DAR donations. These students not only get an education with an emphasis on patriotism, they also receive personal attention from DAR members.
They don't just teach you from the textbooks, but they help you with real-life problems too.
It fills my heart with so much joy and gratefulness and pride in this school. I really can't express it, and I appreciate it so much because if it wasn't for that, I wouldn't be the person I am today.
I would say thank you, DAR, because you have built not only a school, you have built a community that will continue to thrive for many generations and years to come.
KDS senior and musician Lindsay Atchley will be able to go to college thanks to the DAR.
It's inspired me, I guess, to encourage other people and to make a difference, or just be a good citizen.
You can reach out and help a child to make a difference in their lives. They in turn will make a difference in the life of our country.
Today's daughters work with schools and literacy programs across the country. They recognize young people with scholarships and good citizenship awards. These New Jersey students are winners of the DAR annual essay contest, which helps children learn about history. DAR education programs also go far beyond the classroom.
Welcome to the Pink Ribbon House. You ladies are in for a special treat today.
Texas chapters gave tours of this designer-decorated Pink Ribbon House in Houston, owned by Royce Hassel and his wife Sylvia, a breast cancer survivor. The tours raised more than $500,000 for medical research.
We can help educate members and other people about the prevention and early detection for breast cancer, and just in general help them know more about how breast cancer can affect their lives.
To have them volunteer so many hours for free, it was a big deal. It was very touching to me.
The DAR is dedicated to preserving America's historic landmarks, places like Meadow Garden in Augusta, Georgia. Built around 1790, this was the home of George Walton, one of the signers of the Declaration of Independence.
It's important that we preserve this history and that we learn to appreciate our past, and it will hopefully give us courage and insight to move forward and to be better citizens.
Georgia Daughters not only maintain this property, but they've also launched a campaign to attract tours so more people can learn about George Walton's contributions.
And this is one way we can teach our children that there were men and women who were willing to sacrifice their homes and their lives and their property to give us the freedom that we have.
The DAR has preserved hundreds of local properties and placed markers at historical sites across the nation. Its library also preserves one of the largest collections of genealogy records. To join the DAR, women must trace their lineage to a Revolutionary War patriot, any soldier or civilian who aided the cause. But with the help of DAR genealogists and the Internet, getting started on the research isn't hard.
We discover new patriots every day, patriots of all backgrounds. And there are a lot of people here who are willing to help you find what you need.
You can go to them, ask them for anything, you can share. It's just beautiful.
For Tennessee daughter Pazetta Millette, it turned out to be a fascinating journey of discovery.
I was so excited, I couldn't sleep.
Not only did she find relatives she never knew, but she also uncovered family history lost for generations, history that can now be passed on to her children and grandchildren.
To see what your ancestor did, the contribution that they made, history just comes to life.
Today's daughters are not only preserving the past, they also care about America's future. These seal pups were rescued along the California coast. Marine mammal centers treat these injured animals and return them to the wild. It's one of many conservation programs the DAR supports. However they choose to serve, today's daughters are committed to their mission.
To me personally, it means making an impact in my community and being right there and just learning and growing. And it's just been an amazing experience in my life.
Like many women, Lindsay Whitty is balancing the demands of a busy life. She joined a chapter that meets on Saturdays to accommodate members' needs.
So everybody can find a niche and everybody can find their particular place that they fit in the best.
I just think as a young woman especially, you need an outlet for yourself. You need something to do that will make you feel good about yourself, you'll find good friends, and you'll be able to also give back.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
For today's daughters, DAR membership offers so many rewards.
You will meet ladies who you will become friends with for the rest of your life. And you just make friends all over the United States and even all over the world.
Their friendship and knowing them will add a new layer and a new dimension to your life.
This is really what's kept me going. It's what keeps me young. It keeps me interested.
We have a lot of fun, let me tell you, we really do.
It fills your heart and soul. Every little pocket of your heart and soul can be filled by something that DAR offers you.
And to know that you are united with 100,000 plus women, it's incredible.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
I'm today's DAR.
Today's DAR is carrying on its tradition of patriotism and service, giving its best to America.
We are fortunate to be Americans, and it is up to us to continue the legacy that our founders began and to make this a better country.
Hi, I'm Mike Pacini, Community Affairs Director for Boulder Disposal. Citywide no-sort recycling is here. Boulder City now has expanded a citywide comprehensive no-sort recycling program. It is so simple to use and proven to increase recycling results virtually overnight. Welcome to the Boulder City Recycling Center, where thousands and thousands of tons of your recyclables are diverted from being buried in our landfill. You can now recycle at home, at work, and at school. The new recycling program is totally easy, so do your part, aim for zero waste. How easy is it, you ask? You throw all your recyclables into one bin and you're done. And it's that simple. Just put your cart at the curb before 6 a.m. every Wednesday to ensure pickup.
Recycling is now available for single-family and multifamily residences, including apartments, mobile home parks, and RV parks.
The new program includes businesses, schools, and parks